Hello, and welcome to the National Sustainability Committee's first webinar, NAWIC Goes Green. Can everyone hear me okay? Say yes. Well, I'd like to start with introducing our Sustainability Committee. My name is Kimberly Colella. I am the co-chair. We have Miriam, who is our chair this year. She unfortunately cannot join us today. Julie Salinas, a committee member, will also be presenting with us, and Savannah Nasser, who is our supporting NAWIC staff. So in the next half hour or so, we're going to talk about sustainability, what it means in the construction industry, and what it means to NAWIC and this new committee.
So y'all may have seen about a month or so ago, we did send out a survey. We just wanted to gauge where your guys' companies are at in sustainability and how much they're doing. So you'll see the data right here from our survey. The lowest one would be seed, which is kind of like, what is corporate sustainability? Maybe your company doesn't really have anything going on in that area and you're not really sure where to start. So we've got 14% of y'all said that. Then we have Sprout, which we recycle in our offices. So you've got a few things going on, but nothing too big. And that's where we have most of our companies coming in at 57%. And then of course we had Sapling. We occupy a green certified building or space at 7%. Young Tree, we track sustainability metrics and report through a third-party rating system. We had that at 10%. And then we had some at Mature Oak Tree. We are transitioning to be a part of a circular economy at 12%. So we definitely had a good range, but a lot of our companies are still at the beginning of their sustainability journey, which I think just speaks to why this committee is really important to have to start getting the word out and talking about ways that we can continue making everything sustainable in every company and help everyone out. So I will hand it over to Kim to get us started.
Thank you. So yes, as Savannah's, as everyone can notice here, we have quite varied levels of experience on this topic. So in order to speak a little bit to everyone, we'll touch on a lot of information, but this is just an overview. In the upcoming year for the Sustainability Committee will be about getting involved and getting into the details of how we can make a difference within our industry, and also showcasing how some people are already doing so. So what does sustainability mean? You might think it's a silly question, but sustainability is a buzzword that's ubiquitous in corporate America right now and often used incorrectly. This is probably because sustainability is a vague term that can probably be applied to almost everything we do. Today, we'll concentrate on what sustainability means in the built environment and what it means in a corporate environment for those of you who might not work directly in construction, but in the many areas of business that support the construction industry. So I want to start with a clarification between ESG and sustainability. So ESG, or environmental social governance, are the factors by which a company evaluates its performance based on financial risk and materiality assessments. There's specific standards and reporting organizations that guide and measure ESG. So we've got a bunch of them listed here. I'm not sure who's familiar with these, so I'm just going to touch on a few of them. SASB here is the Sustainability Accounting Standards Board. CDP, pretty well known, is formerly known as the Carbon Disclosure Project. SBTI, the Science Based Target Initiative. So a lot of companies publicly reporting their net zero targets through the SBTI initiative.
Kimberly,
yes.
I am sorry for interrupting. We have really poor sound quality when you're speaking. Is it maybe a mic setting issue?
I can try one thing.
It's technology for you.
All right, is that any better?
Perfect.
Okay, sorry, just using some new adapter things. So sorry. Okay, well, I hope you got some of that. So back to some of these, we've got SASB, we've got GRI, the Global Reporting Initiative, GRESB, or GRESB, however you want to pronounce it. That's a ESG benchmarking for financial markets. There's a lot of real estate investment trusts that do assessments with them. TNFD provides disclosure guidance for companies on their nature-related impacts and opportunities aligned with the Global Biodiversity Framework. This is an organization that was developed as the TCFD, the Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosures, had just declared victory of its own mission and actually disbanded in 2023. So we do see that these organizations are actually moving the needle in the call to action of large corporations against climate change. ESG is focused on areas such as carbon, waste, water, social equity, and financial risk. While ESG is based on the 3 pillars of sustainability, it focuses more on the financial side of things and prioritizes shareholder engagement. It's about monitoring and quantifying performance of these indicators to be able to provide a transparent report that is verified by a third party. The bottom line is that we want and we need to demand that businesses and organizations be honest and open about how their mission, from cradle to cradle, of their product or service impacts the environment and the people in it. Excuse me, I am still dealing with COVID here, so I'm doing my best. This is a holistic view of an entity, the holistic view of an entity towards a circular economy. So this doesn't stop with a sustainability report with a bunch of greenwashing facts or a claim to net zero through purchased renewable energy credits, but that's another discussion, a long discussion for another time. So what's important here are the factors that are weighed in the discussion. The materiality matrix is a graph that companies use that plots various challenges related to people, planet, and profit impacted by their business. And it helps them inform their decision-making around developing solutions to these challenges. So here we have an example by Lend-Lease. So economic performance is the top for both their business and stakeholders, but waste and energy management are also of great significance to both. I encourage you all to look into the factors and challenges that your business impacts and play around with plotting them to see what the present and future direction of your companies should be. So here we see some factors such as climate resilience, ethics, diversity, etc. These show up on a lot of materiality matrices. But say we were to do one of these for NAWIC. I'm going to ask you guys what we think. Hopefully this works. What we think would be the most important factor to NAWIC and its members. So if you all can take this, just scan the QR code that you got there and just type in your answers. If we were plotting the factors on how we think NAWIC, what's our environmental impact, our total ESG impact, you can go ahead and put your responses in there, and we should get, waste. Okay, we should get some responses. Give it a minute. Of course, it's not working for me. It's interesting because, we as an organization, we deal with people in all kinds of different parts of our industry. So it looks like waste and diversity have come up quite a bit. Inclusion, consumption, recycling materials, and goes back to waste, effect on natural world. All of this ties into that. waste and recycling, consumption, DE&I again. Okay. All right. Well, I thank you for that. Just gives us a look at where we could take this, the direction that we can go with this, the things that we want to develop and dive into as we continue to develop this this committee. So sustainability is the broader concept of environmental impact, or formally as defined by the United Nations Brundtland Commission. This was in 1987. I'm sure most of you have heard this, but meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So this is a theme that needs to permeate everything we do in our daily lives, and especially in our work within the construction industry. Sustainability in construction focuses on land impact, resource conservation and efficiency, healthy and low carbon materials and air quality, and occupant health and well-being are also becoming a greater focus of sustainability in construction. So what is our actual impact on the environment in construction, and why does this matter that we're paying attention to this? So each year, the built environment accounts for approximately 42% of global CO2 emissions. This is something that we hear quite often. As we see here in this chart, 27% of that is building operations. And then another 15% comes from the embodied carbon of the most commonly used construction materials. This is just 4 materials: cement, iron, steel, and aluminum. So 15% comes these 4 materials. It's pretty impressive. The construction industry also uses about 32% of our natural resources per year and creates approximately 30% of waste produced globally, too much of which is still ending up in a landfill. So these numbers are staggering, and they will only go up with the rapid need for more buildings to accommodate a growing global society. So after all their data crunching, the thought leaders of Architecture 2030, who are the people that put this data together in this chart here, they said that to meet the 1.5 degree climate target, we must eliminate all CO2 emissions from the built environment by 2040. That's just 16 years away. We all know that that's a daunting task, but it takes all of us from within this very impactful industry that will help change the path of the future, along with the individuals, communities and governments that thrive in the buildings that we create. So there's a lot of organizations and collaborations that are working to pull people together to tackle this challenge. The Architecture 2030 Challenge is where I pulled a lot of these statistics. There's a lot of UN organizations like UN Environment Program and the UN Sustainable Development Goals that a lot of people are basing their sustainability paths on. The USGBC, I think all of us know, the United States Green Building Council, active across the globe now. And Building Green, which is the architect of the contractor's commitment. And these are just a few of my favorites. So while sustainability resources look at the design and operation of buildings, few have really concentrated on the actual construction process. So I'd like to take a minute to speak about the contractor's commitment. The construction site is where I live and thrive. They call me a sustainability specialist, but I'm on site to manage the sustainable construction of some large life science projects that are all targeting LEED and all have pretty ambitious net zero goals for their companies as a whole. So this commitment to sustainable building practices changes the way we're used to doing things. And we all know how hard that is, right? There's a lot of contractors out there that are trying to be more sustainable, whether it's because they believe in it or because their clients want it. They're doing it, or at least trying. But there has been little to understand how we're doing at this sustainability stuff. We're tracking metrics, how much diesel we're consuming on site, how much waste we're diverting from the landfill, how much water can we reuse instead of using potable water for non-potable needs. But what are we doing with these numbers? what are we comparing them to? So in 2018, the Sustainable Construction Leaders Summit, a group of industry-leading contractors decided they needed to create a standard by which they could all measure their sustainability progress on the job site. The commitment outlines its goals on a good, better, best scale across 5 categories of carbon reduction, job site wellness, waste management, water management, and material selection. This guideline for sustainable construction can be a resource used internally for best practices or as a public commitment to building more sustainably. So people can go and sign the commitment, and it's public on their website. Greening our construction operations with things like the development of electric heavy equipment and replacing diesel generators with renewables and battery technology will be a main focus of the future of sustainability as we work towards decarbonization of the built environment and a circular economy. So to make this a little bit more realistic, I actually had the pleasure of being involved with the contractors' commitment when they were coming out with version 2 of their guidelines. With employers and clients that are dedicated to doing things differently, there are obviously a lot of challenges, but in the process, there's a lot of really cool opportunities to do some really impactful things. So I took a few examples, some exciting things that I have worked on recently. There's an 800 kilowatt solar ground mount installation that, together with not shown, but 800 kilowatt rooftop installation, was power about 10% of a major manufacturing facility with huge energy loads. And this is a lot of energy that they're pulling off the grid in an area that's developing rather rapidly right now. On the right-hand side, all that wood. So one of the sites that, was a large greenfield site. So they took down quite a few trees. But there is a company here in Raleigh, North Carolina, where I am, that goes to these greenfield sites, and they take the trees and they reclaim them. They have a group of artisans doing really amazing stuff, and they mill the wood and they make awesome furniture out of it. And this client actually purchased wood wall paneling for their lobby and conference tables and break tables out of the wood that they tore down. Now, this isn't the greatest solution to clearing greenfield sites, but it does tell a story about how there's an attempt to at least reuse the wood that they can. So Carbon Cure is a technology that we used for slab pours. It's a technology that takes carbon and injects it back into, takes carbon dioxide, injects it into the concrete mix at the batch plant in order to permanently trap it into the concrete material that'll be used on site. So it's a pretty cool opportunity there. To the left there's a barge of concrete that's about 20 miles off the coast of North Carolina. This was the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality Marine Fisheries Group that is working on artificial reef projects. So we had a bunch of leftover and some broken pieces of storm pipe and storm structures made out of concrete that we couldn't use. And they collect a lot of this from DOT, and they take it on a barge and they dump it in the sea, and they create marine habitats for reviving some marine populations. And it might sound like it's not a great idea to dump concrete in the ocean, but it is one of the oldest and most successful programs, started back in the 50s in the US for rehabilitation of marine habitat. So it's been a super successful program, and I was able to be out there while they were loading that barge. It was quite an impressive thing. And then finally, there's opportunities that exist in collaboration with local municipalities that make certain resources available, like the town of Holly Springs here in North Carolina has purple pipe that is run to their commercial sites. The purple pipe is reclaimed water that they treat for use on commercial and industrial sites in order to take place of potable water for things like process loads, mechanical systems, irrigation, etc. And we used it on our cooling towers, and it accounted for an amazing savings of potable water that we didn't have to just run through the cooling tower for mechanical loads. We used reclaimed water. So some pretty interesting, innovative things that are coming out of this drive for change. I'm going to turn it over to Julie to talk a little bit about what NAWIC is currently doing as an organization.
Thank you, Kimberly. Hi, everybody. My name is Julie Salinas. I'm out here in California, a member of the San Francisco chapter. So NAWIC has, thanks in part to some fantastic leadership to date, NAWIC has been able to get ahead of the curve on some of our sustainability efforts. For example, at annual conference in the past, we've used live local nursery plant centerpieces members could take home and plant. National has also gone digital. You may notice that your NAWIC today on the connection no longer come in the mail, the snail mail. They're sent to your email inbox instead. New member packets are also sent via mail, but saves postage and paper. And in the national office, I also use reusable water bottles and pitchers, which helps keep plastic out of the landfill. Now, I don't know how many of you saw the communication from National about annual conference. This year's annual conference will be in Houston, Texas, and they are limiting the number of printed conference booklets. This cuts back on paper use and saves energy and decreased printer runtime. It also helps keep the ink cartridges out of the landfill. Less printing, less ink, less stuff goes in the trash. I know out here in California, I'm a member of the Pacific Northwest region. We have in the past gone completely digital with our conference booklets. A QR code is distributed. You scan the QR code like you did to take our little our survey here, and that helps prevent printing costs, printer runtime, etc. And at chapter table sales, either at national or at any of your regional events, you may have noticed chapter selling reusable water bottles, NAWIC branded. It's a great way to help encourage the use of reusing our resources as opposed to just wasting them. These are just some of the things that we're doing. There's a lot more we can do. And there's to be honest, there's a lot more that needs to be done. But what Kimberly, you can tell, is does sustainability for a living. I do not. So my knowledge has been limited to what I can do at home and what I can do, maybe, recycling paper or plastic at work. But we can educate ourselves. And as a committee, we can educate our members. I am sure those of you on the call have and know others that have stories of innovation and creativity and sustainability. We want to hear those. You never know what you can take from something and put into your workplace or at your home, etc. Let's see, Kimberly, let's go to perfect. So what you see in front of you is a list of some of the sponsors at the NAWIC national level. There is many more, but these sponsors are the ones that have ESG programs that are really easy to find, written ESG programs that are easy to find on their website. So I went through the list of all our national sponsors and was trying to find sustainability programs, and they're posted under ESG, corporate governance, sustainability. So going in to find some of these is not easy. These companies had them readily available. I'm going to highlight a few. I do want to highlight Procore, Jacobs, and Autodesk. Excuse me. Jacobs is a carbon neutral global corporation and aims to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions across their value chain by 2040. This is a statement from their Climate Action Plan 2022. Procore, the project management software giant, provides integrations with applications such as Building Transparency's EC3 calculator, excuse me, Green Badger and Sustain IQ to help advance technology used in construction for reduced carbon emissions. They also have a strong focus on the S&G, or the sustainability and governance, donating $250,000 to historically Black colleges and universities scholarship fund in partnership with the AGC of America in 2021. And the diversity of their board includes 44% of directors that identify as female, which is awesome. Autodesk also have increased their number of women in tech roles to 49% since 2022. And they source 100% of their energy from renewable sources for their facilities, cloud services, and work from home employees. The Autodesk Carbon Fund invests decarbonization projects and finances renewable energy projects. And in fiscal year 2020-24, they've deployed $3.8 million from this fund. These are just some of them. You can take a screenshot, or maybe we could arrange to send out our presentation after the meeting is over. But I encourage you to look up the sponsors on this list and see what else they do. There's a lot of other really big names on here, and it's really neat to kind of go through them and see what you can find in terms of goals and what their efforts are. Thank you.
So transitioning a little bit, bringing this more from the big corporate company side to a more professional development side. Sustainability in the built environment is almost overrun with building certifications and professional accreditations. I know sometimes we're tired of hearing the same ones over and over again, but they have been the drivers for change within our industry. So I'm a LEED accredited professional, and when I got that in 2007, there were 35,000 LEED APs in the US, and now there's over 200,000 people globally actually that share that same title. So it's becoming quite popular. And the cool thing about this is that they're not only architects and engineers that are getting certified now, but project managers, energy consultants, government workers, people in finance, real estate, and human resources are also taking the deep dive into the world of LEED. I think this is because we're finally realizing that systemic change starts with the individual and scales up, and it has to be done across all sectors. It is the mindset that needs to be adopted by everyone on the team and not just the designers and the builders. So this is a truly exciting place to be when we can start attacking our present day environmental challenges with help from all sides. So beyond LEED, we also have tons of others, and here's just a few. True Advisor that focuses on zero waste. Well AP and Fitwell Ambassador focus on occupant well-being. They have become a lot more popular since COVID times, and people are thinking about how the health of ourselves within our environments at work and at home. The Living Future accreditation and BREEAM AP for those who are working internationally. And then, of course, I want to mention some of the more specific roles, such as certified energy auditors, commissioning agents, HERS raters, and obviously the list goes on. So why are these titles so important? Besides the cool part of having lots of fun initials next to your name on your resume, these certifications can push us to expand our expertise in a specific area. They allow us to keep educating ourselves and thinking outside the box for new ideas, answers, and solutions to the demanding questions and problems presented to us every day. It seems like it can be overwhelming trying to act on climate change or improve our natural and built environments. But the reality is that we're the only ones to do it, and each of us has a role to play in shaping our future for the better. So if you don't have any credentials, look for something that interests you and challenge yourself to enrich your professional and personal experiences. So now that we've filled you with a wealth of information on what's out there, we want to discuss what's in here. but specifically what's in this NAWIC National Sustainability Committee. What we want to provide is education, no matter where you are in your sustainability journey. As we saw, we're kind of all over the place from that survey in the beginning. We want to help you discover more, to excite you and arouse your passion to change the world, or just change your own personal carbon footprint. We want to provide groups to study with for your professional accreditations, like we just mentioned, or groups that you can chat with about the challenges your projects are encountering. We want to get experts in the room to have inspiring dialogues and create opportunities to share case studies by those who are already getting it done. We hope to create a database of information and links to standards and guidelines and organizations that are leading the way in the industry. We will strive to listen to what you all want. So we encourage you to provide feedback and join us as we grow as a committee, so we can understand how we can support all of our members. We plan on collaborating with other programs and groups within NAWIC to make this not a standalone committee of tree huggers and waste warriors, but an integral part of the way we work and as an organization within the construction industry. We ultimately would like to see individuals stand up at the region and chapter level to act as sustainability ambassadors. It would be great to have sustainability committees at all local levels, but we think the greatest impact can be had when there are people taking action within the other committees that already exist, right? We know there's already so many committees out there. So what if we thought about sustainability when we planned our regional forums? What if we thought about our carbon footprint when we ordered swag? What if we joined forces with DE&I to make change happen and make sustainability accessible to everyone? Or with PD&E and emerging professionals to give a new perspective on educational opportunities? Well, I think it would be awesome, and that this committee would be a success. So with that, I'll wrap it up. I know we've thrown a whole bunch of stuff at you, but this is just an overview. And I will share our contact information. And I'm so sorry, Savannah, I spelled your last name wrong. You should have corrected me. Anyway, this is us for now. Hopefully we grow, and I do want to open it up to questions. I know there's some stuff in the chat. Oh, that was all about me not speaking. All right, do we have any questions out there? And you can feel, I don't know, can they unmute and speak, Savannah, or do we have to type things?
If you raise your hand, I can unmute you so you can speak to them.
No questions? Well, how about comments? What do you guys think? Why you're interested in this? Is there anyone that has a suggestion, something they'd like to see? You have a question, Alex York.
Go ahead, Alex. Unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So my question to you is, how do you go about introducing something like this to project managers or construction operation managers that absolutely do not care about this? Like I've encountered a lot of people that don't care about, any kind of waste, because they'd rather pay the fine than, put up just any kind of BMP that would slightly help the environment around them in terms of stormwater. Like it's pretty disappointing. How would you go about trying to convince them that this is necessary and to spend the money on it and not just pay the fine?
So that's a huge challenge.
I'm sorry.
I have been doing this for a long time, and very recently have I been able to focus only, my background is construction project management, and I've been able to focus on sustainability because the clients are now driving it. I still work on sites where, I've got 3,000 people on one of the sites I'm working at, and I can pretty much say most of them don't care about sustainability. We have to do it because our client is driving it. So yes, the person that's responding in the chat, money, incentives, finding local and federal programs, money talks, and that's it. So until there's clients that are willing to say, hey, contractors, we want you to do this, then they're not going to find reasons to do it on their own. In our industry, contractors specifically, and architects, designers too, they do what their clients ask of them, right? So they're not going to come out and say, oh, why don't you spend an extra $1 million on sustainability efforts? In my case, I had a client that said, well, we're going to spend an extra 20 million on sustainability efforts. What can we do? And then we all jump and we have these opportunities to fill them in. So I think how it starts is networking. So we've got to just be talking to people, and it's going to be a lot of talk until we have someone, either policy that's going to drive it or clients and the money that are going to drive it. But really, the more you talk about it, and little things like maybe just in your job site trailer or in your offices, put out a recycling bin for fluorescent lamps or batteries or printer ink that everyone throws away and they think it's okay. That stuff's so easy. You just put it in a box, and most of the major printer companies will send you a label to send it back, or you drop it off at your local, Office Depot or whatever. Little things like that. And then if you start tracking data, you can say, hey, look, this is, if you can put money to it, you say, hey, this is how much we saved by recycling these things, or try to force people to bring recycled water bottles in instead of plastic, and like, hey, this is how much money we saved in buying plastic water bottles. But huge challenges. So thank you for that question. And I know it's not a great answer. It's not what I want to hear either, but it's kind of a reality. So
Alex, I have a suggestion. Depending on what your time limitations are, the amount of time you have to invest, start dabbling in your local policy. Who's making the decisions? What are they looking at? What's coming across the desk, and find out. Again, I don't do this for a living, but it's a passion of mine, keeping our environment wild, keeping our environment. Find out what's coming across the desk. What can you do to help? I would venture to guess that your local politicians have something that they're looking at or working on.
Thank you so much. I've been thinking about getting into policy lately. I just don't know where to start, but I have actually a meeting with someone who deals with construction in the county where I'm at. So I'm hoping that kind of gets the ball rolling just a tiny bit. So thank you guys so much for your answers.
And let us know how it goes.
Yeah,
and how we can
absolutely.
support too. There's a lot of volunteer opportunities at the local government levels as well in sustainability. Okay, Stephanie.
Questions.
Oh, wait.
I will allow Paige and then Stephanie,
Okay, you got
and
it.
then we'll get Dawn and Gail as well.
Thanks.
Hi, everyone. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Hi, my name is Paige Rosca. I'm out of Boston. I currently work for Schneider Electric. We are one of the most sustainable companies in the world, actually. So this is something that we really focus on. Are the contacts on the page right here? Is that to join the committee, or is that just to learn more about it?
All of the above?
Okay, perfect. Are you guys accepting people to kind of speak on sustainability, like kind of have maybe like-
Sure.
okay, perfect.
Absolutely.
We have a sustainability whole segment, and
Yes.
we just absolutely go crazy for this kind of stuff. So I'd love to step in and bring somebody on and have, some conversations about it. We really see a lot of sustainability push in Austin. A lot of tenants will, like you said, request for sustainable buildings, the LEED AP kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So this is really becoming more present in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, Paige, if you email me, Kimberly, I would love to set that up, and maybe we can make that our next event. I would love to bring speakers in to dive deep into some more specific topics.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Righty, Stephanie, you can go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Garcia from the San Antonio chapter, number 11. I was just curious, is there like some sort of goals that we're gonna like set for each chapter to go along, or do we just need to start getting like as many members to join these meetings, and then eventually is the goal also for us to have a chapter sustainability committee as well?
So sure. The goal is to have when we start committees at the national level, the goal is to get them down to the local chapter levels. Sustainability is one of those interesting topics, though, where sustainability permeates everything we do in all of the other committees. So I would love if a committee existed, but I think if we had sustainability ambassadors that looked at all of the committees that we have at a chapter level and said, how can we make these more sustainable? That would be more impactful. And that's another discussion I'd love to develop with more time as well. Julie, do you want to, I think you were the one that spoke to how sustainability is not about people, it's about stuff. Maybe it wasn't you. We had this discussion, but yeah, so we're kind of different than a lot of the other committees. So, and we also have this great opportunity because we're new to kind of create our own goals. And that's why we're doing this, opening it up to see what everyone else wants to do, because we are coming from all different sides here. Hope that helps a bit.
All right, so Dawn, I see in the chat you said, is there a way to introduce this topic with engineering colleagues? Starting from the design would be the best way to get implementation going. And I'm gonna unmute you as well if you wanna have dialogue.
Yeah, that's one of the, I actually work for Travelers Insurance, and we have an ESG focus as well, but it's certainly much more office paperwork kind of oriented. But one of the things that we've been doing in our construction division is trying to coordinate with some of the local colleges. And I didn't know if, anybody in the higher echelons at NAWIC had relationships there. It seems like that would be, safety by design starts in the colleges with the engineering firms and things along those lines. It seems like sustainability would be a perfect topic as well to kind of infiltrate at the college level to get these kids, coming along. They already have that kind of mindset. So, how can we stretch that in the construction industry?
Savannah or Julie, do you have any? I don't know that anyone's doing that. I know we do a lot of things at NAWIC in colleges with career fairs and things like that. We have at the chapter level, but I
don't have any information on that. I know from being involved with the different parts of NAWIC for so long that if it doesn't exist, anybody can bring a proposal to the national board for review at one of their board meetings, which is actually how this committee came together. And it could be something that the national office takes ownership of. It could be something that they would want the committee to take ownership of. But with anything that you want to see done, we've got to take action. So if this is something that you're interested in, which I do think is a fantastic idea.
Okay, who just said, I'm sorry, the NEF the NEF sustainability, like a NEF sustainability scholarship, because I know we do so
Yeah.
much with the NEF.
Yep.
That's an awesome idea. And that's exactly what we're talking about when we say becoming a part of the existing NAWIC, right? We don't want to create sustainability that sits over here as a separate thing that people do if they're interested. No, it is something that we all need to get involved with. So how do we kind of just seep into all the other committees and be like, hey, this is a new aspect that we can throw on this. Super awesome idea.
Yeah.
So sustainable block kids, like let's do a green focused block kids. And I know they've done that, I think, before. Some of the chapters have. So things like that. I will go back to really quick though, the conversation about sustainability starting in design is critical. Now I know we're in construction, but our biggest challenge on the construction site is that it doesn't start in design, and then we got to make it up in the field. So I battle daily with engineers. So that is super cool. If we can even just start some kind of, I don't know, I know at a local level, like we've had a table at a career fair to just get people interested in sustainability and maybe team up. There are a lot of colleges that are starting sustainable design courses and things at the engineering or project management or architectural level. So kind of making people aware of that type of stuff, just bringing awareness to those things is super, super important. Okay. All right, is that the end of our questions?
We have one more from Gail really quick.
Okay.
No.
Hi, Gail.
Hi, thanks for the opportunity. I have a little bit, sort of a different focus than anything that has been brought up before. So I just wanted to kind of share that, and because it's the sustainability that's coming more from a biological or a biodiversity perspective. And I do agree with the need to start with the design, because this also would need to. But one of the things that I do is do a lot of presentations on bird safe building design, because glass, especially, there's so much glass that is used in buildings. Or things that look like glass, that are reflective surfaces or plexiglass, things that are confusing to animals in the natural world. And so we lose up to 1 billion birds a year in the US alone from window collisions. And so I think, people in the building trades, there's more awareness of this that is, that's present now than there was even a few years ago. There are, LEED credits that are available for incorporating bird-friendly features into a design, and there are a lot of municipalities that are now starting to require bird-safe building design standards for for buildings. And so, I kind of just wanted to bring up the topic because a lot of times it sort of flies under the radar, pun intended or not. And so I just like to increase people's awareness of this as a topic. So it's an important sustainability feature, but not one that people think about when they're talking about like recycling, ink cartridges and, potable water and that kind of thing. But, it really got me thinking about it, looking at this photo that's on the screen now with green roof, and then all the adjacent glass, and not all of it's glass, which is good, but I see a lot of features that catch my attention. So anyway, just kind of wanted an opportunity to bring that forward, and I'm happy to share more. Or I give presentations that provide continuing education credit for AIA architects and lead professionals. So, I try to I try to, rope people in that way as well.
That's super awesome. Thank you so much for bringing that up. That is, yeah, there are so many aspects to this that we didn't touch on or didn't bring up. I actually just learned that statistic on actually how many birds we lose to glass from an EPA, a guy that works at the EPA down here. But it is, and that's something that we could spend extra time on for those people that want to go into that. Like that's another webinar about to happen. Like these are things that are really great ideas. So thank you for bringing it up. I see more things in the chat. So we'll take all of this information, put it together, and I do think we're going to start to have monthly meetings as we start to outline what the next year will look like. And I will, yeah, anyone who sends us an email, we'll start putting you on a distribution list and make sure you get the dates, and I know we're all across the country here, so trying to find a time that works for everyone. We'll do our best. Maybe we'll just alternate it on and off to try to make it work for more people. But we're close to time, so I have one last call for any last questions. Or Julie or Savannah, do you have any last words to say?
I do have something I'd like to add. Elizabeth, I do see your post in the chat. Sustainability as a whole is something that's very dear to me. I work for an electrical testing company, so we generate very little waste. We go in after a building has no power and we test the electrical infrastructure. So one of the things that I would like our committee to bring to the forefront is, what can you do towards sustainability if you work for an organization like that? So not just the S&G portion or the S&G portion of environmental sustainability and governance, but personal contributions, as well as how to nurture ESG when it may or may not apply to what you do. I mean, we're part of the built environment, but we don't build anything. We test. Everything's electronic. There's got to be more we can do. But thank you for your post.
Yes, this is also, it's an overwhelming topic. The word itself is an overwhelming word, as we can see a little bit of just how much we've touched on, how many rabbit holes we could have gone down. You got the heavy construction side for me because that's what I do. But Julie, I really appreciate her input, always bringing that back to like, well, there's all these supporting operations of the construction industry, and it's a whole nother perspective. But again, sustainability is all throughout all of it. It needs to be. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up. And we will try to not diverge too much, but we still are a construction industry or construction organization, so we'll keep it within the industry, but we will try to touch on different areas of support of the industry. So I appreciate everyone's time. The committee appreciates everyone's time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the questions and the dialogue. I hope this is a really good start to the future of this committee and what it can do across the organization. We'll have this recording up, correct, Savannah? Okay, if you want to share it with anyone.
Yes, we will.
Great. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.